Praying to Swami, and we shall begin with our opening prayers. Om. 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 Aishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om. Offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our merciful Mother Sai, who brings every week a gem of his, as I would call his alumni who have been blessed to be part of his institutions, molding themselves to be how we should all conduct ourselves in our day-to-day lives, and setting baselines and also being examples to each one of us in the way they conduct themselves and be instruments of his. We have yet another gem with us today, brother who started his education in the 11th grade at the Muddenahalli campus of the Sathya Sai School, following which he did his BCom Honors in the Brindavan campus, subsequently doing his MBA in finance at Parthi. Brother here comes from a family who have been devotees of Bhagwan since the 1990s and hails from Bangalore. He was actively involved in sports and cultural activities all through his college period, and also received the campus cup from Swami during the annual sports and cultural meet in 2005 while in Brindavan. An active public speaking person, and who has also been involved in dramatics during his tenure in the college. We're blessed to have Brother Karthik, who incidentally continued to be how I would say, a person who continues to be blessed to be associated with the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences in Bangalore, where from the year 2010, he has worked in different departments, including internal audit, neurology, emergency, and currently handles medical purchases and is in the stores. And as always, every week, Swami has something that is a customized message for each one of us for the queries that we have. And as always, I'm excited to see what is in store for me, and I'm sure so are you, and looking forward to hearing Brother Karthik for the next 90 minutes. Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram. Offering my humble pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters. First and foremost, I offer my salutations to Bhagwan for giving me this opportunity to share the blessings and the grace that he has chosen to bestow upon us, me and my family. And I also thank Brother Sathya and Brother Venkat for having me this evening. First of all, a very warm and happy Deepavali wishes to each and everyone present here. When I look back at how immensely fortunate each one of us are to be in Swami's fold, especially in times where things have been so very drastic, so very painful, and it is only his hand, that unseen hand of God, that carries us through. And there are innumerable experiences, instances where he has guided each one of us through different walks of life, and continues to show that if you surrender to him wholeheartedly, then he is there to take care of you. So having said this, I pray to Swami to talk through me and share the experiences with all of you today. Venkat mentioned, we got to know 1990s, and I was a young boy, and we were in Mumbai those years. And for somebody who is, about 10, 11 years old, how do you introduce somebody and tell him, see, this is God, and you need to pray to him? So it was a challenge for my parents to kind of make me understand what Swami is, what are his teachings, and how to get this naughty young boy to sit for bhajans or balvikas classes. And like any other child, I was also pretty, uncertain to say, why should I go and attend these classes? What is it there for me to be a part of it? And that too, the balvikas classes were on a Sunday morning, and I was always trying to find reasons how to escape the classes. But as his wish would have it, I got enrolled, and I started attending these classes, albeit first out of force, then through source. He inspires the inner devotion in each one of us, and he makes sure that he connects to each person in the unique way that he best knows. So for me, it was more like, for a boy who was around 10, 11 years old, friendship is a term which is very easily understandable. So I believe Swami chose the term friendship between me and him to help me connect to him in a better way. So I used to have these small bet, if I may call so, with Swami, to say, okay, Swami, you and everybody else say that you are God. So for me to believe that you have some powers and you are God and I can confide in you, I would want you to do these things for me. For example, in school, if I have not done my homework, or due to a genuine reason, and next day if the teacher would be chiding us, then I would pray to Swami to say, Swami, can you just help me get out of this incident? It's a genuine reason that I have forgotten to do my homework or carry my particular book to school that day. So can you help me out here? And believe me, if the reason was genuine, most of the times Swami was there. Either the teacher would not have come that day, or she would not ask for the homework, or even if she would ask for homework, she would let me go off with a small minor warning. I know it sounds very trivial, it sounds very childish, but if you put yourself in a small boy of around 10 years old in his shoes, I'm sure you would be able to appreciate that in that age, it was only Swami who knew best how to attract this young boy into his fold. And gradually I started liking going to Balvikas. The stories, the incidences, the experiences which my Balvikas guru used to share during those classes inspired me so much that I wanted to join Swami's college in Puttaparthi. But as it would be, and what Swami decides is best, there were always trials and challenges, and the vicissitudes of a life used to pull me away from Swami during my school days. But always, he used to ensure that he brings us back on path. I remember a small story which I would like to share here. There was once a lamb which was always running around in the lawns, not worried about where it goes and what it does, because it always knew that the shepherd, the master, was there to look after him. Even if the lamb is lost, the master, the shepherd, would come, comb through all the wilderness, and pick up the lamb in his arms and take it to safety. So the lamb never gave a second thought to say, what if the master is not here? What will happen to me if the master is not here? So on one such occasion, it ran away from the meadows, and suddenly it found itself completely lost. It searched for its master, hoping that, like every time, the master would come and pick him up. But the master was nowhere to be seen. So the lamb got really worried. And it really started to pray and cry to the master and say, Master, where have you gone? Why have you left me here all by myself? I don't know what to do. Where do I come back? How do I come back? And as the prayers increased, as the wailings of the lamb increased, suddenly he saw the master. And it ran with full joy and glee and said, Master, I have found you back. Thank you for coming and saving me. And the moment the master picked up the lamb looked up to him and asked, Master, why did you leave me and go? Then the shepherd asked the lamb, Did I leave you and go? Or did you stray away? The lamb knew the truth, and it softly cuddled itself in the bosom of the master. In the same way, brothers and sisters, each one of us is like the lamb here. In our different walks of life, we go astray, hoping and praying that our Lord is there to take care of us. And the Lord is always present by our side. But it is for us to realize, it is for us to pray in all sincerity and devotion to the Master to help us be with Him. It is not only that when we have troubles, we should think of the Lord. When everything is going fine, we rarely think of the Lord and we don't offer our gratitude to Him for keeping us healthy, happy, and safe. But when things go wrong, we start to blame Him and say, Why did you do this to me? I remember one more very oft quoted anecdote here. Each one of us know the footprints on the sands of time. When the times are good, you always find there are two sets of footprints on the beach. And all of a sudden, the second set of footprints seemed to vanish. So the person asked, God, during these troubled times, you left me all alone. How could you do that? And God responds by saying, My dear, those footprints that you see during your troubled times, those are mine. I have been carrying you in my arms during those troubled times. Such is the love of God for His children. All of us need to just understand this and surrender ourselves to His grace and His love and sincerely pray that He holds on to us, or rather we hold on to Him through every moment of our life. And this is what happened to me also, like I was mentioning earlier. After my 10th standard, I wanted to desperately get into Swami's college and be a part of this student community, which I've heard so much about how much love and affection Bhagwan shares with the students during my Bal Vikas classes. So I had applied for Puttaparthi campus, and unfortunately, I couldn't get through the interview and the entrance exams, and I was heartbroken. Maybe that was the first time in my life, if I remember, that I had cried my heart out and said, Swami, how could you do this to me? Why don't you want me to be a part of your student community? What wrong have I done? But, brothers and sisters, we have to remember that if God closes one door, He always ensures that the other door is open. And that door may not be what you want, but going through that will be the best decision that you have made in your life. Because that is the door which God has chosen for you. That is what He wants you to take in. It may not be what you want, but that is the one that you need. So, like I was mentioning, I couldn't get through the entrance exams in Puttaparthi. And during my summer vacations back in Bangalore, I was all distraught, and eventually I was deciding that I would go back to Bombay to pursue my higher studies. And as Swami would decide, there was a call from a brother of mine who said, Karthik, there is a school of Swami in a very close by place called Muddenahalli. It's about 60 kilometers from Bangalore. That's also a Swami school. Why don't you try there? So I was like, I have been in Bangalore all my life. My parents are from Bangalore, and we have never heard of this kind of a school. What is it? However, we were all intrigued and we said, this is Swami's blessings. So why don't we go and try out and see what is in store for me? So the very next day, me and my father, we went to this new school that we had found out. And believe me, I was in love with that place. It was love at first sight. Right at the foothills of the great Nandi Hills was a serene location filled with calmness and peace and tranquility. And I just looked at my father and I said, Papa, I just want to study here. He said, sure, let's go and meet the administrators and let's find out how the process is and what's going to happen. Because it was already towards the end of May and we were unsure if any admissions were open for the year. So we went in, we spoke to them, and they said, yeah, the admissions have formally been closed, but yeah, we can try and accommodate one seat. But we will have our entrance exams and all in the coming month. And if he clears, then God willing, we can decide further. I said, it's okay, I'm ready to do whatever it takes. And my first love was science, and I was hoping to pursue science after my 10th. Excuse me. But in the Muddenahalli campus during those days, we had only commerce. So my father looked at me and said, now what? Are you ready to take up commerce just so that you want to be in Swami's college? I said, yes. If Swami has decided this, I know this is what is going to be best for me. So let me take it up. He has given me an opportunity. He has given me an opening. So let me jump into it with all faith. I mean, I was a teenager, so in all this exuberance and youthful challenge, I just took it up. I said, let's go, let's take it up. And I was happy. The moment we filled up the forms and I canceled my ticket to Bombay, gave exams, and he has blessed it. So it had to happen. And I got into the Muddenahalli campus for my 11th and 12th. Those were the foundation years, I'll tell you. All the learnings that we had done, we had got during our Balvika's tenure, and to practice it, to live it on a day in, day out basis with a proper drafted out timetable, which Swami himself builds for his students, right from morning Suprabhatam to physical exercises, to study hours, to the college hours. It was like a holistic, offering that was there for each student to participate in. that is Swami's love. I mean, Swami's love, as we say, is greater than 1,000 mothers. I would say infinite number of mothers. Swami has been so kind to bless each one of us, and he takes care that every other thing, like for somebody who is coming in from a city like Bombay to settle in into a hostel life, 1,000 kilometers away, in a new uh, place, new friends, new teachers, everything was completely new, but he ensured that none of us feel homesick, or none of us really feel out of place in his place. He made sure that every small instance, his unseen hand was seen. You just had to pray to him, and it used to be answered. Like, if you're missing your mother, you just pray out to him, and in some form or the other, either there's a phone call from home, or there is somebody coming and giving some sweets which are got from home. Such very small, minute to help his children not miss home. And we used to call the hostels a home away from home, where everyone lives for each other and all live for God. So that was the kind of camaraderie and the oneness with which all of us lived in these hostels. And as I said, that was the foundation stone laid for my future 5 years that were to come. And he had it planned. He had it completely planned in every way possible. And before my 12th board results were out, my Brindavan seat was confirmed. And similarly, before my BCom results were out, my MBA seat was confirmed. I mean, it's just that we have to pray to him. We have to be honest enough in our efforts, and ensure that we are on the right track, and keep praying to him that he keeps us on the right track, and he carries it on from there on. Coming to Brindavan, I would again say those were the golden moments of my student life. The 3 years that I spent there in Brindavan, be it mainly the hostel, the institute, or the mandir, which are the three, 3 points in the student life, everything was so picture perfectly planned by Swami. He ensured that none of us really lose out on anything. At the same time, we gain what he is coming to give us. And the turning point, or the icing on the cake during my student days, I would say, was the summer of 2004. It was the year where I had finished my second year in BCom Hons, and it was summer holidays. That year, Swami had come to Brindavan in the month of March, to be precise, exactly on the 31st of March, when we were writing our last exam. And the next day on, we were all supposed to leave for our homes for the vacation. For some reason, I felt I should stay back for a few more days, just to maybe get a chance to go and interact with Swami, or have the Tri sessions, get a blessing, get an opportunity to attend the Tri sessions. So I decided, let me stay back for a few more days and see what happens. And we were also planning for a program called Kavi Sammelan, where a group of us boys, we had planned and written some poetry in different languages, and we were hoping that Swami gives us a chance to offer it to him as a mark of our love and gratitude to him. So as a part of that, I was preparing, and I was hoping that Swami gives us all a chance to present the small skill of ours at his lotus feet. So as it happened, it continued for a week and there was no try sessions. And slowly the number of boys staying back also started dwindling. So on 8th of April, me and my friend, we decided that we have been here for a week and there are no signs of any try session or anything of such sorts happening. So let us go back home and come back maybe after a while. And on the 8th of April evening, Swami calls us for a try session. And he asks one of our elder brothers to give a talk. And the elder brother mentions about an incident wherein Swami had given his robes, the orange color robe that he wears, to all the students in Puttaparthi that year. So when he was mentioning that, a few of us obviously had a small prayer in our hearts to say, wow, how nice it would be if we were to get a similar robe from Swami's hands. And as though, I mean, Swami is the indweller of our hearts, so he only would have initiated that thought, and he is the one who listens to it also. So as soon as the brother finished speaking, Swami said, I want to give robes to my Bangalore boys as well. So here we go. We were sitting, and we were about 50 of us who were left, who were staying back in Brindavan. So we had the opportunity to get the robes of Swami. It didn't stop there. Swami said, if anybody from you have got buttons in the robes that I have given you, you come and show it to me tomorrow. I'll give each one of you buttons, the golden buttons which holds Swami's robe. Now, logic tells us that these robes are washed and ironed and kept nicely, so the chance of the buttons being there are very negligible. But since Swami has said, we thought, hoping that if at all somebody would have got it, it'll be a good opportunity if all of us also get it. So we myself and my friend, we thought, let us stay on for one more day. Anyways, we have stayed back and things seems to be improving. So let us hope and stay for one more day and see what happens. So come 9th of April 2004, morning Swami finishes darshan and he has gone back to Trai Brindavan. And we were all back in our rooms and had changed from whites to the usual casual colors that we wear at hostel. And we were in a room just talking about darshan. Suddenly there was a call from the warden who was in Trai with Swami and said, Swami is calling out for these boys. They are requested to come to Mandir immediately. And I was surprised that my name also was in that list. So I quickly changed into my whites again and I ran to Trai Brindavan. Only to know that Swami had called us 9 boys for some work to be done in Trai Brindavan a little later during the day. So warden sir came down and he said, boys, Swami wants you to come at around 12 o'clock noon back to Trai, and there is some cleaning stuff which needs to be done. So all of you quickly go, have your lunch and come back at 12. I was super excited. There was no hunger or whatsoever. I said, when can 12 o'clock happen soon? So I was waiting eagerly, and at sharp 12, we were all back inside Trai. And one more senior devotee ushered us to the upper rooms of Trai Brindavan. And that's where, you had a lot of stuff which had to be segregated. And for me, it was seeing Swami in much close quarters, and those experiences were really surreal. And even to this day, I thank Swami for having given me that kind of an opportunity during those days. So basically, we had to shift things. These were all, small gifts which Swami used to give to his boys and devotees, like white pears, or some saris, or some suitcases, or some pens, or toiletry set. So we just had to segregate everything, take stock of it, and arrange it and keep it back inside in a different place. So this kind of activity, it continued for about 3 to 4 days, from 9th April till about 13th or 14th of April. And we thought our tryst with destiny is getting over. And those 4 days, mind you, we were there inside Tribe Brindavan right from morning after darshan till evening darshan. So we used to be working, and Swami used to come in and go, interact with us. And from such close quarters to see Swami interact so personally, it was a real eye opener for me. And that's how he connected back to me and said, I have come here and you're searching for something else outside. And so we thought at around, after 3-4 days of this kind of a stock check or inventory clearance work, things were done. But then Swami had his own plans, and he continued to call us every single day for the next 2 months to try. April, May was filled with his darshans, his close interactions. And every single day it was a new revelation for us. We just had to be attentive enough to catch those gems, or precious moments, or precious memories which used to flow during those days. It was like just Swami and the 9 of us sitting at his lotus feet, talking about things varying from how the hostel life is, how the food in the hostels were, to Swami's childhood days, or sometimes about some current affairs. So many different things were uh, discussed. Swami used to ask us every time we go in, Emi Samacharam. So what's the news today? And one of us used to take courage and start talking about, Swami, this was there in the hostel today, or this is what we did today, or this is what we want to offer you. Or there would be some devotee who would be coming in, and Swami would start talking about them. Each day was a learning, and each day he brought us closer to him. And we just had to be attentive. And looking back, we know the significance of those 2 months. He held us literally close to himself. And if I look back and say, do I really deserve this? None of us have the answer to this. It's his blessings, his choice, that he had chosen us to be a part of that group. Maybe he was preparing us for something which only he knew lay for us in the future. So he wanted to give us all that strength and courage, and to build that faith in him, that no matter what happens, we have to hold on to him. I would like to narrate a few instances which happened during that phase of 2 months, which really brings to light what Swami is, or how do we perceive his magnitude. I'm sure you'd all be aware of Mr. Ratanlal sir, who was a very senior devotee of Bhagwan. So one evening he had come to Trai, and he wanted to interact with Bhagwan. And like Swami, he had also undergone a hip replacement surgery that year. And Swami had obviously arranged for it, and it was done in our hospitals. but he wanted to offer something back to Swami as a contribution or as a donation to help others in the cause. So Ratanlal sir handed over a packet to Swami, and Swami was like, I don't want to take this. No, this is not something which I can take. This is my blessing that I've given to you, so I'll not accept anything. He said, so Ratanlal sir was like, नहीं स्वामी, इस हाथ में सब कुछ है, इस हाथ ने ही सब दिया है. Swami was like playfully, doing ये हाथ में क्या है, ये हाथ में कुछ नहीं है. Then Ratanlal sir went on to say, Swami, इस हाथ में सारा ब्रह्मांड है. The whole cosmos, the whole universe is held by this hand. And you are somebody whom we see as a human figure in front of us, but you are the ruler of this entire cosmos. The moment Ratanlal sir said these words, we should see Swami's face brighten up. And he was like, boys, do you hear what sir has said? We were a bit awestruck and we said, yes, Swami, we understand, we realize in whose presence we are. And we feel fortunate to be at your lotus feet. And this is something which each one of us have to realize, brothers and sisters. Swami was here with us. Swami is here with us. But in the day-to-day life, in our mundane activities, we fail to realize that he is not just this 5 feet 3 inches human figure wearing an orange robe and coming for darshans and creating, materializing things, or talking to somebody playfully, or going around and interacting with us. He is the Prema Swarupa, as he calls us, but he is the very embodiment of love. He is God who is there, and he is in this human form. And if he has chosen each one of us to be a part of that time cycle, we really fail to understand and realize how fortunate we should be, each one of us. Only as time passes, and now with his physical presence not being there amidst us, the onus is on each one of us to really carry on that message, carry on that learnings which he has been giving all through in different forms, in different aspects. It becomes so very important for us to connect in this manner, share each of the experiences, and learn from one another. And similarly, I mean, my classmates used to ask me once we were back from the thrice sessions as to, what did Swami reveal today? What did he do? Did he do some miracles? He never did any miracles there. Just the fact that being with him for those 2.5 to 3 hours every evening is the biggest miracle, the biggest change that would have happened in each one of our lives. Only he knows why he had to keep us in close proximity to him during those 2 months. It is just to build that faith. As I said, as a young boy of 10 years, when I looked at him and I said, Swami, I want you as my friend, as a close confidant. He chose to be that. He played that role. And he's continuing to play that role even to this day. One more such instance which happened was, we were talking one evening and Swami was talking about his childhood days, how he used to play with his friends and how everybody used to pull him and they would want him to be in their team. Sorry. And Swami used to run away. So one of us asked Swami, what about marbles? casually Swami remarked saying, yeah, marbles I used to play in Shirdi. It was a remark, it was a casual remark. But when you look back and said, for Swami, we all say Swami, Shirdi Sai, and Parthi Sai are one and the same. It's just a reincarnation. For him, it is one. Like if I tell something I did in my childhood, that's me. I have done that, and I am here. So it's not a big matter of fact for me. Those were the kind of revelations which Swami made so casually. There was one more instance where we were talking about some trips which Swami and his devotees had made in the early 60s. So one Swami was mentioning that Ishwaramma Garu wanted to visit Shirdi along with a few devotees. And they all approached Swami and they wanted Swami also to accompany them. And Swami was like, no, you all go, carry on. Why should I come? Then when they continued to ask him to say, no, Swami, you should come and this thing, Swami just mentioned the statement to say, na puttapartini nene chudalani emaina unda. Meaning, is there anything in my puttaparthi that I have not seen or I have to see? So it is like Shirdi and Puttaparthi are two different places for us mortals. For Bhagwan, it's one and the same place. He was there, he is there, he is here, and he continues to be here. So for him, it was never like, something very different. This for us to realize, oh, okay, we are sitting in the presence of the Almighty. So all our antennas became alert, and we were like, yes, Swami, right. What you're saying is right. So these were sort of small revelations which he had made during those days, which help us to connect back to him in ways which we can only feel that we are blessed to have such interactions with Bhagwan. And he used to often inquire about my family, my father, my mother. And my father was actually working in Bombay, and he had taken voluntary retirement, and we had all shifted back to Bangalore in the year 2003. And he wanted to serve on a voluntary basis in the super specialty hospital here in Bangalore. So I had prayed to Swami, and Swami had also blessed. And subsequent to all the interview process and all, he was working in the super specialty hospital on an honorary basis. So April 2004, during those days, Swami had inquired about him and what he does. And he had asked, did they give him quarters to stay on campus? Those days we had a home, and my dad was traveling from our home to the hospital, which was about 30 kilometers one way. So I just told Swami, no, Swami, we have our home, and father travels from there on a daily basis. Oh, is it? Okay. I'll tell them to give quarters. This is what Swami had told. And within a year, believe me, we got the accommodation here on campus. And to this day, we continue to live in the same house, which was blessed by Swami. So it is like he takes care of every small thing, every minute thing. And if the devotee prays, then he answers. Even for my father, he was doing very well in his job back in Bombay. And there was a time when he felt I should come back to Swami and offer something. So he was in dilemma to decide as to how do I leave this job and come over, because both his sons, me and my younger brother, we were studying still. He was in his early 50s. So he was really wondering as to how he can leave everything and come back. And one evening during his prayers, he happened to open a book on Swami. And the first statement that was there in the book was, the moment you feel that your future is secure with the amount of money that you have, your faith in God is diminishing. So this statement was enough for my father. And he said, these are clear directions from Swami that we don't need to worry about the future of our family. He's there to take care of us. He is the guiding force. He is the anchor. So he will take care of my sons, my wife, and myself. I just have to put in my papers, pray to Swami, and come over to Bangalore. So if a devotee prays sincerely, I repeat myself, if a devotee prays sincerely and if the intentions are genuine, then God goes to great extent to fulfill that prayer or that desire that is there in the devotee's heart. One more instance which I remember very clearly, where it brings joy to us all devotees, is we were back in Bombay in the year 1999, if I'm not wrong, and Bhagwan had visited brother Satyajit's house in Bombay, and on his way back to Dharmakshetra, there's a small park en route, and few of us devotees, we had hoped and prayed that if Swami's convoy can pass through that park entrance where we are all seated, we would have a darshan of Swami. So it was not as per the planned schedule or itinerary of Bhagwan, but we just hoped and prayed that if the prayers are there, let's hope and see what happens. So few of us got together in the afternoon, started cleaning that place. It was an open park. So we cleaned up that entire place. We put up some lights, some buntings, some decorations. We hired a chair for Swami, a throne, just kept it, and we started bhajans at about 5:30 in the evening. And Swami's convoy passed to brothers Satyajit's house. And the moment we got the news that Swami has started back to Dharmakshetra, our prayers just increased. And we're all praying, singing bhajans, and hoping that Swami's car would just pass through one gate and exit through the other, so that we can just have a glimpse of Swami. Swami's car was going, and the escort jeep actually zoomed through, and we thought, okay, this may not be the day where Swami chooses to give darshan to us. But it so happened that Swami's car just moved past the gate, the entry gate. It stopped, it took a reverse, and it came inside. And we were thrilled beyond words. We were about maybe 100 to 120 people sitting there right from evening, kids, elders alike, singing bhajans. The only motive was to please Swami and hope and pray that Swami comes and blesses us with his darshan. Even a car darshan would have sufficed and filled our hearts with joy. But Swami decided to bless us even further. Not only did the car come inside, Swami got down of the car and he spent 7 beautiful minutes listening to our bhajans, swaying to the tunes in all his bliss. Just to see Swami in such close quarters, it was a thrill beyond any words could explain. And as his blessing would be, my father got an opportunity to offer Arti during that visit of his in that place. So why I mentioned this incident was, brothers and sisters, it again reiterates the fact that if you pray genuinely, if you pray sincerely to Bhagwan, he goes to great extent to take care of his children. A mother can do only that. Mother is for that. So like this, there were innumerable instances. Again, it brings me back. I'm sorry if I'm shifting between time zones and years, but when you talk of Bhagwan, each day is a memory. And to try and make it into a garland and to present it at his lotus feet in the limited time which is available for us, it becomes difficult to kind of match everything together and bring it up. But I'm sure this is Swami's blessings and he is speaking through me, so I just am going with the flow. So coming back to the days of 2004 summer, it was a day when we were all sitting with Swami in the interview room, the 9 of us, and there was a talk about the Yajur Mandir being built, the new residence of Swami. So we were all very excited as students, and we said, Swami, you will have a nice, brand new, bigger house to stay in. And Swami was a bit concerned. He didn't look very happy or elated. Swami said, yeah, I know a new building is coming up, but there are already so many buildings. So we were just waiting. We paused and we were waiting for Swami to continue. Swami expressed saying, there are so many buildings, there are so much of uh, things that are coming up. Who will take care of them? So we again paused. We didn't know what to react. So some of us mustered some courage and we were like, Swami, you are the owner of everything here. So it's all yours. I said, yeah, that is there, but what about after me? So we're again puzzled. We said, Swami, it is yours. So you are the rightful owner of it and you will be there to take care of it. Swami said, no. What you should tell is, Swami, he said, you should tell, Swami, we will take care of it. We as his devotees, we as his students, and we as his property. The devotees and students are his property. So he said, you should tell that, Swami, we will take care of everything for you. So this is what he expects from each one of his brothers and sisters. Now that Swami's physical presence is no longer with us, it's been 10 years now, but the onus grows on us each and every day. It is for us to live his message and spread his message and take that is glory. The responsibility is high, and I'm sure if he has put each one of us in a particular role, wherever we are in whatever capacity we are in, if we dedicate ourselves to him in his mission, he will guide us in each and every step. Challenges will be there, but his unseen hand will be there to guide us every step of the way. It is like how Mother Kunti during the Dwapara Yuga prayed to Krishna to say, Krishna, I pray that you give me more and more troubles. So everybody was flabbergasted to say, why is Kuntima praying like this? But then she went on to tell, only when I have troubled times, I can pray to you more often. I can remember you more often. Similarly, we should not be praying to Swami to give us more troubles, but rather pray to him continuously to ensure that he gives us the strength to overcome any challenges or any tribulations that come in our life. These are some things which Swami has been repeatedly putting it across in his discourses or his interactions with several devotees in so many instances. And we were also fortunate to hear from him to say that we as his devotees should rise up to the occasion to take care of this entire Sai Samrajya that he has built with all love and care. If it is not us, then who else will take care of it? And mind you, we are only instruments. As we keep saying, we are only instruments and we need to be hollow. We need to be humble enough to be molded and guided by him. And let him take the reins of our lives and channelize it in a way that he knows best. So these were some instances which I thought I'll share with you during the summer of 2004. And after that, again, 2005, after my BCom degree got completed, we were blessed to go to Kodaikanal with Swami. And again, they were a memorable 19 days that we spent in his close proximity, where again, so many instances had happened which helped us realize that Swami is the ultimate power and the universal mother, the love and care that he showed on each one of us during those days. It really pulled us so close to him that no matter what we do in our lives going forward, wherever we are, we don't leave him, we don't leave his feet. And like I told earlier, the moment my BCom course got completed, even prior to that, prior to the results being declared, my MBA admission was secured. And the next 2 years we spent in Parthi. And it was a breeze. With Swami, every day is such a memorable day. We had our morning college, then rushed to Mandir for evening darshan. And we used to put up several plays in Swami's presence. And these were all opportunities which he is giving. For God, he has come down to give love, to spread love. And there are so many different ways in which he just chooses to give that love for us devotees to cherish every small moment. You ask any student, he will say, yes, I was there during the drama and Swami came and looked at me and smiled at me. Or any devotee for that matter. I was here, I was going for an interview, I prayed to Swami and Swami blessed me in this way and I got selected. Or I was going out somewhere and I escaped an accident thanks to Swami's grace. We have heard innumerable such stories from every devotee. That is what Swami does. Swami works in his own immaculate ways, unseen ways. But when we collate all these experiences, the joy that it brings to us is something which recharges us each and every single day. But it is not always the bed of roses. God always tests you to see how strong your faith is. It is like when you hit a nail in the wall to hang a photograph. You hammer the nail into the wall and then you try to shake it and see how strong it is. In a similar way, the faith is first nailed onto you and then the shaking happens to see how strong you are, whether you will withhold the strength of the photo or the strength of the memory or the strength of the life that it is going to offer you. So, in a similar way, Swami's physical interactions had reduced as I was completing my MBA. And I was in a dilemma to say, what should I do further? So, the pulls of the outside world, you have an MBA degree with you, so go out and work and earn. So all these Maya, as they call it, was pulling me. And I decided that I'll take Swami's blessings and go out and search for a job. I prayed to Swami, I submitted a letter, Swami just took it, and Swami is like Tatastu for everything, right? I mean, he doesn't really, mm, I mean, he has told in several occasions what specifically you need to do, but in cases he allows our free will to work and for us to only realize and come back to him. So he blessed the letter, and I came out of uh, Parthi after completing my MBA, and I got a job in a prestigious bank. But somehow every single day when I used to travel from my house here in the super hospital in Whitefield to the bank, there was a void in my heart which I was feeling. I said, Swami, something is not right. Something is not right, and I really need to come back to you. But the test was going on, you know, kind of stronger and stronger, only to intensify my prayer. Only if the devotee understands that the pining, the yearning that is there, it should be genuine. Only then God will respond. He'll let you see go fall like the little lamb. It'll the shepherd will let you go, but he will be there guiding you. It is for us to realize that, oh no, we have lost our path. And when we look back to Swami, he is there to take care of us. So the next 3.5 years was a challenging time. Yes, he took care of me, but like I said, there was a void in my heart which I felt I should come back to him. So I wrote several letters to him and I tried to approach him and say, Swami, can you please take me back? And in the month of June 2010, it was a turning point again in my life. And I lost my dear father to an accident. And Swami was informed of this as he was a staff of the hospital here. And Swami said, he is with me. I know. Tell the family and tell them that I am here to take care of them. So those were very reassuring words, but a loss of a father for a person who is about 26 years of age at that time is a life-changing moment. On one hand, on the career front, I was not very happy with what I was doing. I was just carrying on, going with the flow. But like I told you, I was always feeling some void in me. And now to face this and to how do you take care of a family after a loss of its man of the family? So these were very troubled times, but I kept praying to Swami, and it was during those times that Swami blessed me to join the super specialty hospital here in 2010. And since then, it's been 11 years now into my 12th year. And Swami has given me an opportunity to work in different departments to understand the various nuances of how a hospital functions. And every single day is again, we know very much that it is Swami who is working through us. And especially in the current profile of medical purchases and stores, it's a very important department and involving a lot of finance, and tactfully we need to manage the availability of medicines, the right quality at the right price and at the right time. So looking back, it was almost like he was training me back in 2004 when he had called us for some inventory checks and storekeeping. He might very well knew that, close to 15, 16 years down the line, Karthik would be working in the super specialty hospital, handling inventory, handling stores and purchases. I mean, it's just so magical to see how he intertwines all these incidents in your life and he takes care of you. He just guides you through those passages. And every single day, mind you, brothers and sisters, the unseen hand of Swami is seen to work wonders in the hospital. You have heard of so many stories of patients who have given up all hope and they come to us here and they don't have money to even go back to their hometowns. They would have exhausted everything having spent outside in other hospitals or other corporate centers, but they would neither have got the correct treatment or they may not have the resources to avail such a treatment. And this purely Swami's blessings that thousands of them have come and got treated in these hallowed portals. And every single day, we see close to 600 new patients coming and hoping and praying that this temple of healing provides them all the bliss and cure that the body needs. And we call this a temple of healing. We don't call this a hospital at all. The environs in the hospital, the corridors, they all give such a serene atmosphere, a feeling that you don't feel that you are in a hospital and there are patients wailing or ambulances siren going off. Those things are not there. All that happens is proper accurate care with all love, devotion and sincerity. And if I were to put into perspective the whole thing, back in 2004 when during that Navagraha days, I'm sorry, Swami used to call us Navagrahas, the 9 of us who were there. So that's how we were called. So during those times, one of the occasions we had, it was Ishwarama Day celebrations. And just the day prior to that, Swami had a fall. So we had arranged that all the celebrations would happen inside the Brindavan compound itself. So that Swami needn't come out too much and strain himself. So during the discourse, we were all sitting around Swami, and Swami made us 9 boys stand up. And addressing the audience, he said, "These are boys who take care of me, who live with me, who work for me, and they are here with me all through. And they are the ones who are taking care of me." Now, the thing is, I was still in my second year undergraduation, BCom, and there was absolutely no plans of me coming and working here, or I had not thought about it, to be frank. But Swami knew that this is what is right and this is what would happen in future. So he had expressed this way back in 2004 that this boy would work for me. And now looking back, 16, 17 years down the line, I'm here in this hallowed institution. And I can only be thankful, ever thankful to Mother Sai to say, he knows how best to take care. I mean, I keep repeating this word, but that is the only thing which I can tell. He knows what is best for us. We just have to hold on to him. And like I told, each and every day, the experiences of patients, when you hear them, when they go back happy that yes, the correct diagnosis has happened for my ailment and the correct treatment has been given for me. And there are so many devotees who come who don't know that this is completely free of cost. Here are given completely free of cost. So they are also surprised to say such good services being provided without charging even a penny. How is it possible? So we just reiterate to them to say, when no charge for love, pouring of love that we do, It is out of love that we do. So there is no need to charge anything for love. The more love you give, the more love you get. That's how the entire thing expands. So having said this, it's like, the way Swami takes you through life. I remember an incident where back in 2004, we were, during those days, almost on every day, I used to get this opportunity to hold Swami's feet when he used to get up from his throne inside Tri Brindavan. So I used to kind of lift the cushion, place his feet on the carpet, hold his carpet, hold on to his feet so that he can get up. So one such occasion, he asked me, "Why do you do this? Why are you holding on to my feet?" So I said, "Swami, so that you don't slip. The carpet is smooth, so you don't slip." Swami was very happy with my answer, and he just pinched my cheek and he said, "Very good, good boy." And I had got this opportunity almost every single day during those 2 months. Now when I look back and what has happened, what all have happened since the 2004 to 2021, it is for us to realize that we have to hold on to his feet, not that he would slip. I mean, he is God after all. He would not slip. It is for us to hold on to his feet so that we don't slip in our lives. It is for us to really hold on tight to him. He is the anchor of our lives. And if we hold on to him, brothers and sisters, I am rest assured that he is there to take care of us. Come what may, let there be any challenge that is thrown at you, he is there by your side, holding you, guiding you, and guarding you. No matter what happens in your life, wherever he puts you through, whatever challenges come across, he is there, holding on, guiding you like the shepherd, like a good friend, like a confidant. He is there by your side. Just hold on to him. Just pray to him, and he will take care of you and your family. With these words, I would like to conclude today's session, and I would like to thank Swami once again for giving me this opportunity to share some of the experiences and to re-energize myself to work more wholeheartedly in his mission in whatever little way that I can. Sairam.
Sairam to you. Sairam to you, brother. Absolutely fine. I mean, I'm trying to look at words to summarize what you've put, and all I can think of is this are these beautiful lines that came out as a song sung by the boys. Every moment of my life, please be with me, and every single act of mine, be thou my guide. When I slip, when I fall, lend me your hand. When I stray far away, bring me back again. From the darkness into light, lead me, Father. From the unreal, lead me to the real. Absolutely wonderful to see how yet again Swami has inspired, brought the connect through Balakas. Finally, how he reaffirms the fact that when there is this genuine yearning, we pray harder. And when that prayer is harder than normal, he yields. At the end of the day, that's the power of prayer, right? I mean, he yields, and his yielding is always based on our yearning and our prayer. So all I can say is, you've also highlighted how Swami is beautifully said, he didn't build hospitals, but he built a temple of healing. And the temple of healing is also, I guess, a temple for all those who work there, because it's a healing process for them. And through the seva that they do, they heal themselves whenever they are perturbed. And they also heal everyone who comes there by the magic of the atmosphere and the grace that is there. And we are just blessed to have you today with us. And I have no words how every week, for those of you, I do not know how that connect would be, but for me, every week, that reiteration of something that runs in your mind, and how that reassurance comes in these satsangs are beyond words. And I can only thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us today, brother, and praying to Swami that you continue serving, being that hollow instrument that allows him to play his beautiful notes through you, as how you would put it, as how Swami would put it as well. So thank you so very much, and looking forward to seeing all of you for the next satsang, which will not be next week owing to the Akhanda Bhajans, will be the week after next. That is the 21st of November, preceding Swami's birthday. So thank you so very much once again, and praying that everyone remains safe. If anyone has got any questions, we still have a bit of time. Anybody? You go ahead. Else we can.
Sairam, we have a question here.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, Sairam, brother Karthik. I would like to ask a simple question. How do NRI devotees like us do seva in the Swami's hospital? That is first question. Second question is, brother, you are now in charge for a very interesting section. I understand you're in charge for medical supplies and procurement in Swami's hospital. I would like to understand from you, when you do this procurement of medical supplies, in what way has Swami guided you in your professional career? Thank you.
Sairam, brother. These are very pertinent questions, and thank you for asking that. First part, as NRI devotees, obviously, I mean, NRI or resident Indian is only physically that we are apart from the place. So anytime that you happen to be in India and in Bangalore and you have some time, you can always come out to the hospital, even if it is for a day or two, or even if it is for some planned sessions. You can always contact the admin and the HR, and we would always find some ways of how we can provide you that opportunity to serve in the hospital. The other way is obviously by helping in terms of, if there are some, I wouldn't say donations, it is more like there have been instances where a lot of devotees have helped the central trust by contributing and specifically aimed at some medical help, so that those funds can be channelized to the hospital and they can be used in treating of more and more patients. If it is in-person seva that you wish to do, then I'm sure all of us would be here happy to help you in whatever way we can, either as a general seva that you can do, or if you have some specific skills or abilities which we can make use of. So somebody is, skillful in IT and he would like to spend in a few hours developing some kind of a small module or a software which would help in delivering better care to the patients. We can always get in touch with you and avail of your services in that particular niche area. So those are things which we can plan and discuss and take it forward from there. The second most important thing is how has Swami helped us plan my day-to-day activity. Yes, it is a very important role, and the only guiding factor here is what I look at as having the right medicine at the right time, at the right price. So outside or in any other corporate sector, the thing that drives everyone is profit. So how much profit or how much margins am I making out of this purchase or out of the sale that I do? Whereas for me, for me or for any of us working in the hospital, the only profit that we look at is the smile on the face of the patient. To say, if the smile is bigger, then my profit margin is bigger. If I'm able to provide him that particular, I don't get to interact with the patients directly. So my interactions are often with the doctors or with the nursing staff in terms of medicines requirement or any other purchase that we need to do. The guiding force has always been ensure that it is the best material that you get in at the most competitive price. So it is like when we discuss with the vendors also, we tell the same thing. See, this is a hospital or this is an institution that is like no other in the world. Everybody else, they do maybe 10 or 100 free charitable surgeries a year, and they advertise it as though it's a big thing in their the area of work that they do. Whereas we do 100 surgeries easily in a week. And this has been continuing not only here in Puttaparthi, it's almost 30 years now, and in Whitefield, it's 20 years. We have been doing this day in and day out. It's only for them to realize that it is their blessing if they can be a part in this noble cause. So we try to explain to the vendors that, see, this is the cause with which we do and what we do, and it becomes all the more important as a purchase procurement manager for me to put this perspective across to the vendors and say, we are doing this and we can only continue to do this if your support is there from the vendor side. I can go on to need it at the best price, but if the vendor is not able to give it to us in that price, then there's no point. Then we will have to yield in somewhere. Either we go in for a substandard equipment or some other medicine, but that is not what we are here for. So we reiterate the fact that this is for a noble cause and this is guided by Bhagwan. So it is in that interest and in that intention that we seek the best from you. And mind you, we have had so many instances where the vendors have come back to us and they have offered, a better additional, a superior quality product after our interactions. And we often encourage them to come over to this temple of healing. And the moment we take them around the hallowed portals, we explain to them what the intention behind setting up of such an institution and what we do on a day-to-day basis. And everybody gets inspired and they contribute. They feel, they come back to me and say, please give us an opportunity to be a part of the service that you are doing. So that is the only motive, or that is the only, what would I say, how we interact and how Swami guides us in these interactions with the vendors when we are procuring some things. And again, at end of the day, money doesn't matter. Right? Today you buy an equipment, you buy a medicine, tomorrow the patient is discharged, he gets well and he goes. But what remains in our memory, like I told you, it's the smile, it's the satisfaction. And the way they come back to us and they repeatedly tell us, sir, there is no other hospital which has given me such love and care. And I'm cured. I'm cured not only of the physical ailment, but I'm cured of the mental ailment, the mental stress and agony that I have been carrying along with this disease all through these years. And that is possible only in an institution like this. And wherever we are, each one of us is able to pitch in at that moment and do that little bit, like how the squirrel played the role in the Ramayana. Each one of us are doing our bit in that way. I think that's how I would put it across. I hope I have answered your questions, brother.
Yes, you have answered the questions and you have answered them intelligently.
He does that. He does that. I have not answered. I'm sorry. Swami has answered through me.
The reason I asked that question is because I'm one of the approved vendors here in Singapore for the ministry. So I wanted to actually follow principles of Swami when I'm doing similar work. We don't have Swami's hospital here, but I want to assume and I want to pray that every time I do something here during COVID time, I would like to understand that the question always comes in my mind. Is it service or is it profit? So you have answered so beautifully, brother. Fantastic answer. Thank you very much.
Especially during these COVID times, I'll tell you, brother, the way help has poured in.
Yes.
I mean, everywhere there's a shortage of the PPE kits or, the masks. You would know how it was. The global pandemic was really hard.
Yes.
And even we were not spared. Actually, many of our own staff were affected. But Swami ensured that help flowed in unasked for. Be it donations of PPE kits or the injections or whatever it is. You just had to pray to him or do your work, do your part. Ensures that every other you get the medicines or you get the items at the right time. It's again, it goes back to what Swami used to say always. If the intention is good, the money or other things is not a problem at all. If your intentions are pure, intentions are good, everything will fall in its own place. So that's the prayer which we do every day. The moment I reach work is, please ensure that things happen in the right way. And end of the day, I am satisfied. I feel at peace that we have been working in an institution where it doesn't involve, any wrongdoings or any bribery or anything. And if I'm able to bring that smile to the patient eventually, I may not even see that patient at the end of the day. But I know that I have done my bit to help him get cured. I think that's what brings me satisfaction, and that's what will make him happy also eventually.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think, if you carefully look at it, a person is blessed to be chosen to come to the temple of healing.
Right.
The people in the temple of healing are chosen for a purpose. And the whole process is what I call smile generation factory. Because every step of it is all about generating that smile, and that is the outcome, right? Love, unconditional love flowing with just the aim of a smile on a face of a person, feeling that they are blessed and convinced that there is divinity above. I guess it's Swami's unique ways how he brings that faith in us, and also emphasizes that when there is collective prayer, healing is
magic. It just happens.
And I think it's also something that I remember. I do not know which brother said. He said, you survive on the basis of your past punya, blah blah blah. But then when you go to the bank and then the bank officer wants to give you a loan, he finally goes and says, if you have nothing in the bank, he goes and asks you, is there someone who will pray for you, the guarantor? The moment that person prays for you, then your problem is solved and you actually get the loan from the bank. Similarly, the collective prayer that happens towards the healing of everyone who comes there, without money being the outlook towards the whole process. Driving factor. I guess that is the biggest catalyst to ensure that healing happens. There is no other option but to heal. Blessed we are to listen to this. I think that part of procurement that you said, very, very valid. Something that many of us who are involved in similar work will keep that in mind. I think the biggest learning for me, at least, that smile on the face will remain as the biggest. I do not know. Swami wanted one more point to linger in our mind, and that's how this question came. So thank you so very much.
Right, yeah.
And blessed to have you with us, and praying that Swami keeps everyone safe, happy, ever devoted, constantly thinking of him in all our good and the tough moments that come in between. Sai Ram, and we shall finish off with Samastaloka. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai. Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Brother Anand, I think you had asked for.
Yeah, I should pass your number to him, and then
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I'll do that. Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Thank you so much.